Recently, I read 5 disturbing manga, with the first of these being Anamorphosis no Meijuu, written and illustrated by Shintaro Kago. This 10-chapter horror anthology has one main story, which is followed by 9 short horror stories. The main story is about a group of people who are challenged to survive in a haunted house. A vengeful spirit is summoned to this haunted house, and it proceeds to brutally eliminate each contestant. There is a lot of gruesome imagery, and the whole concept of surviving in the haunted house that is modeled after how the spirit passed away is pretty neat. But at the end of the day, this story is just about a monster that chases down and disposes of people. The monster looks pretty goofy as well, and the lack of suspense really makes the horror elements ineffective. The other 9 short horror stories are kind of bad as well. They feature a lot of uncomfortable and gruesome moments, but that's kind of it. Overall, Anamorphosis no Meijuu is just meh. The main story is mildly disturbing due to the sheer amount of gore, and I guess you could say that about some of the short stories. The short stories are pretty redundant and rely mostly on body horror or bedroom-related themes. This gets repetitive, and I would not really recommend Anamorphosis no Meijuu. I will say that although this manga kinda blew, the art and paneling were pretty good, and I plan on checking out other stuff from Shintaro Kago in the future. The second disturbing manga that I read was Alice in Hell, created by Jiro Matsumoto. Alice in Hell takes place in a post-apocalyptic world where people struggle to survive. A sniper named Shu, who lives with a broken android named Alice, is a hermit who lives in an abandoned city. One day, Shu saves a commune leader from a group of bandits, and they are invited to live in the commune. As soon as Shu enters society, he is treated incredibly terribly, being taken advantage of by the commune leader, being physically abused by those who are stronger than him, and enduring SA. Those around Shu want to take Alice for nefarious reasons, and this results in even more horrible things occurring. The more one reads, the more messed up the events of the story get. The reason that the disturbing events in Alice in Hell works so well is because while in other stories the violence may be cathartic and the adult actions may be pleasing, in Alice in Hell they are at least uncomfortable and at most disturbing. The ending is also pretty solid as well. When it comes to the art and paneling, they are superb. They fit the tone of the story very well, and all in all, it's a pretty solid disturbing manga, but I don't know if I would recommend it due to all the sensitive topics that it covers. The third disturbing manga is from Junji Ito. Although Ito is one of the most popular horror mangaka, his recent manga, Censor, seemed to fall under the radar. This manga is about a woman who sees some odd golden hairs near the base of a volcano. The woman meets a man who takes her to a village. She learns about the hair and sees that it has magical properties. During a ceremony at the village, a celestial vision appears. The next day, the volcano erupts, and the hair is spread across Japan. The manga is about the aftermath of this event. To be honest, the story here is pretty weak, but this is made up for by the art. Personally, I'm not a big Ito fan, but the art in this manga is just on another level. There are a lot of cosmic horror elements, as well as a lot of gruesome imagery. The manga is only 7 chapters long, but Ito does a great job with the manga's pacing. Overall, the story is decent at best, and the art carries pretty hard, but it is still a somewhat disturbing manga. I'd recommend you check this one out. This next manga is definitely the most disturbing one on this list, at least in my opinion. Litchi Hikari Club is a manga that is an adaptation of a theatrical play. The manga adaptation, which was written and illustrated by Usumara Furuya, focuses on a group of boys who live in an industrial town. They are in a club, and the leader of that club, Zera, is obsessed with beauty. The club, which is more like a cult, has been seeking out and doing horrible things to women they deem attractive. The boys of the club create a robot to help kidnap girls for them. One day, this robot brings back a girl that Zera deems to be perfect. The club begins to fall apart, with Zera eliminating those who he believes to be working against him. There's a lot of brutal and gory imagery, with elements of uraguro and yaoi genres. This juxtaposition is pretty uncomfortable to read, especially since the characters are students. I could go more into depth with this one, but I don't really want to spoil anything. The art and paneling help build the atmosphere with the manga, and the story is pretty disturbing. The final manga on this list is Happy Sugar Life, and my take on it will probably be a bit controversial, since this is the most popular manga on this list. Written and illustrated by Tomiyaki Kagesora. Out of all of these, this is probably the least disturbing, but when I looked for disturbing manga, this one kept popping up, so I decided to cover it anyways. This manga is about a student named Satu Makuzaka. She's known for being with a new guy every few days, but this changes when she falls in love with an 8-year-old girl. Yeah. Matsuzaka will stop at nothing to be with this literal child, even going as far as to end the lives of her peers. There are a lot of disturbing concepts that are explored in this manga, but this is all thrown down by the mediocre art and lazy plot. Events just happen for the sake of convenience, and the disturbing stuff is poorly woven into the plot. Overall, this manga is only mildly disturbing, and the story and art are kinda meh. That does it for the video. This was pretty fun to make, so I might do another one in the future. As you could probably tell, I had trouble finding manga that were both disturbing and good reads, so if you have any recommendations, please leave a comment. Thank you for all of your recent support, it really means a lot to me. Later, gamers.